Good evening, good humans. I am Bill Weir of CNN, and I am your host for Isn't This Strange? Urban Pathway's first ever online gala. Happy 2020, everybody. Man, anything interesting happened to you guys since last year's event? Anything? I've decided to go with sort of a salt and pepper Bee Gees look. Can't get a haircut. Oh, and we also had a pandemic baby. This is my new son, River. He's about 5 weeks old, and I can't wait till he's old enough for me to teach him all about the good souls. Thanks, Mom. Behind this incredible organization. This is my first online dealio like this, and you can imagine, because so much of the existence and success of Urban Pathways depends on this one night. So you can imagine how much angst there is for the good folks trying to keep the street teams going and the supportive centers running and people fed and protected, and our most vulnerable folks supported psychologically, pharmaceutically, all of the things that really transform lives with this housing first model. And so we've got a lot to talk about. It's going to be a brisk 30 minutes. That's the upside to the virtual thing. We will have virtual after parties too, though, if you want to hang out and really connect with some folks, because we need this more than ever. The cruelty of the COVID-19 is when we need human connection to flatten that curve. We can't see each other's smiles. We can't hug and handshake. And so we have to overcome in settings like this. And so tonight we're going to do this. We're going to prove that you don't have to be in a big banquet hall eating chicken or beef and staring at your boss as you do a live auction competition, that we can do this and be just as generous in this virtual way. So if you ask for that, if you're not already doing this, please watch it on your laptop if you're fortunate enough to have multiple screens. And then on your cell phone is where the bidding can happen during the silent and the live auction. If you haven't already registered, it's the urbanpathwaysgala.com is the name of that site. And you can go there, you'll be prompted to fill in some information, you'll be locked and loaded and ready to bid and pledge. The online auction is live right now and closes in about 10 minutes. Items have been donated by board members and other supporters, so all the proceeds directly to Urban Pathways. We didn't have to buy this stuff and then try to take a skim off of that. Be competitive, be generous, have fun if you can. Hopefully you're watching with the family. There are hundreds of you on here tonight, taking time from just the most chaotic lives. These are such uncertain times. You're probably teaching kids and running an office and worried about the future and trying to keep yourself and everybody around you healthy. And the fact that you would carve out a little night for those folks who are still out on those streets and still disconnected and still in need of a place. I found out about the organization, I don't know, over a decade ago. I was a New Yorker looking to find a good way to give back a little bit, and was wrestling with chronic street homelessness as a first-time New Yorker, and with those fresh eyes. And then I met this gentleman that I'm about to introduce, and who told me about the housing first model. That person, may need a cup of coffee, may need $1, may need a meal or some socks, but they really need a home. And using homes as some sort of carrot on a stick of morality and asking chronically homeless folks who struggle with addiction and mental health to get their act together before they can come inside doesn't work. And so what if you did it the other way around and come up with affordable, safe housing and then see those lives transform for the better? I've been out with the street teams a few times, and it is unbelievable. The tenacity, the compassion they have, leaning in, engaging with folks who a lot of times are growling for them to go away, and they see the same characters, and then there might be a year after year, but then just one crack in that facade, and they'll come into a drop-in center. And then from there on, can transition to supportive housing. I met a couple guys. We did this thing called Champions for Change at CNN every year. So I went out and shot a piece with, met Robert Burrows and Robert Offley last year. And what amazing stories. Mr. Burrows is living in permanent housing, works as a peer specialist for a nonprofit in NYC, fulfilling his dream of giving back. Sadly, we lost Robert Offley. And if you remember the story we did, he was such a charismatic, lovable, sort of the mayor of his little community there. And we got to see his room for the first time and a shower. And he was so awed by the generosity after spending 10 years sleeping on a park bench. And unfortunately, he's gone. But you can take comfort in the fact that his last years on this earth, he was surrounded by love and compassion. And it's sort of the thing that fuses through the organization and borough after borough. And at the top of this Urban Pathways outfit is, for about 15 years or so, is a guy who works tirelessly. And when I first met him and he explained his mission, it's why I became a friend of this. And when they need swift and decisive change, when something like a COVID-19 pandemic upends life as you know it, he puts the safety and security of his clients and his staff first and acts in a proactive way. And that's, I mean, you have to have this sort of bulldog with a heart of gold to do this job, if you can imagine, in a city like New York. But I'm proud to call him a friend, and I'm sure they're proud to call him the Chief Executive Officer here at Urban Pathways, Fred Shack.
Thank you, Bill. And thank you so much for being a friend to Urban Pathways and for helping our homeless New Yorkers tell their story. Thank you to the board of Urban Pathways for your leadership. Thank you to the associate board for all of the amazing volunteer activities that you've sponsored over the year, and specifically the gift bag event that you did during the holiday season, making sure that every one of our clients were able to receive a holiday gift. Those of you who know Urban Pathways, you know that we work with the most needy New Yorkers, individuals who are chronically homeless, spending years on the street, lost and alone. In normal times, this is very, very difficult work. And I think that we can all agree that these are anything but normal times. So I'd like to tell you what life has been like at Urban Pathways under COVID-19. The reality is that we've always seen our employees as being essential. However, there are a number of employees who work for this organization who really don't have the luxury of being able to work remotely. They're client facing. They're individuals who are constantly involved in doing the outreach and connecting with our clients. I have been inspired by the way they've responded to the current crisis. Our outreach workers who are constantly involved in canvassing the streets, looking to engage a homeless person so that they can assist them in coming indoors and being safe. Our food service staff who make sure that every day our clients get a home-cooked, nutritious meal. Our maintenance and building service staff who ensure that the buildings are well maintained. But during this particular crisis, making sure that the places are totally sanitized is critically important to the safety of our staff and also to the safety of our clients. And they do an amazing job in making sure that that happens. Our front desk staff, who are responsible for maintaining the building in terms of the security of the building, but they also are the folks who are greeting our clients every day and going out of their way to make sure that these clients have everything that they need, irregardless of what their challenges might be. Our case management staff, who engage our clients in a dialogue that allows the client to see their inner strength and to use that inner strength as a way of moving towards their own recovery. They do an amazing job. And all of these individuals are supported by other essential employees of Urban Pathways. And I'm talking about the folks who enable our client-facing staff to really focus on the work that they're doing with our clients. So the payroll staff, making sure our employees all get paid on time, all the time. Our bookkeeping and accounting staff, our HR staff, our IT staff, all of them coming together as a community to make sure that we're in a position to service our clients. So as I said, during COVID-19, before COVID-19, this was a challenging job. During COVID-19, this is a heroic job, and I have been so moved and so inspired by our employees, individuals who come in every day, putting themselves at risk, putting their families at risk in some cases, and doing it for the service of others, asking for nothing in return. So I am inspired by their dedication, by their commitment, by their tenacity. And I also recognize that they can't take care of the clients unless we take care of them. So one of the things that we really try to do at Urban Pathways is to make sure through the support of individuals like you, that our employees are in a position where when they come into work, they can really focus on the work. So things like making sure that every employee has personal protective equipment. Every day they're in, they have a face mask and gloves, making sure that they don't have to worry about their meals. So we're providing a meal service for them. And we're also making sure that we've been able to provide some additional compensation in terms of incentive pay for our employees who are working in the field, so that they can care for themselves and they can care for their families. We can't do any of this without the support of our friends. The reality is that I don't know how much longer this is going to last and what the future holds. But what I do know is that with the support of individuals like those of you who are participating in this event today, and those of you who have supported us throughout the year, we will get through this, and we'll get through this together. So I want to thank you so very much for your kindness, for your generosity, and for your support. And I want to turn it back over to our amazing host, Bill Weir. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. Really appreciate that, your kind words. Great to have you at the helm for 15 years now. A reminder, please go to urbanpathwaysgala.com. Make sure that your phone is loaded up, prompted to fill in there for bidding and pledging. The online auction closes in about 5 minutes or so you got some time there. And please share your virtual gala selfies with the hashtag UPOnlineGala 2020. I want to show you an amazing piece of filmmaking. There's a couple guys I had the pleasure of meeting through Urban Pathways. Bo Magnuson, writer-producer, Zen Pace is director. They have a production company called Impact Movies. It's all about spreading empathy through storytelling. And they found a character, a gentleman, who lives at the residence at Hallett's Cove in Queens. And it's a story of a man and his music stand. This is a story of Artie.
I moved to New York City in 1969. I was in the 4th grade, and I used to get discriminated. One, because I wasn't black, and one, because I wasn't white. So I didn't like being in school. So I stopped going to school. I stopped learning. So I learned to roam around the streets. There are certain things in life that we weren't meant to try. Drugs is one of them. Because you forget about your humanity. You forget about who you are, where you come from, everything. All you care about is that next fix. I have about 30 years in and out of homeless jails. When I lived in the streets, the hardest part was finding a place to sleep. Because you want to be safe. I used to have a penthouse on 26th and 6th Avenue. It was a cardboard box. That's where I lived, on and off, winter, summer. Every week or so, I would have to rebuild it because sanitation would come and tear it down. I had no purpose in life. If I walked down the street, I didn't know if I was going left or right. You can clean the body, but if you don't clean your mind, you're going to go back. Now I empower myself with knowledge. I love knowledge. I love reading. I love looking up things. And also I like to encourage other people because it encourages me, because somebody encouraged me to get to this point. I wake up in the morning, I have my coffee, I go through my books. One thing that I like to do is I have a music stand facing the window that's looking out. And I have a book of quotes. I'm reading this stuff and looking out. Seeing the East River over here, the bridge. It's a good feeling because I'm in my own space. It's safe, it's quiet, it's private. And that encourages me to continue my day. Poetry, when I used to write, I never went back to read them. As time went by, I started going back. And then I realized I wasn't that bad. You know, my stuff actually makes kind of sense. and it relates to the life that I lived. Please step inside me and see what I see, so you can feel what I feel, so you can know what I know. Touch me and be me. And if you get that one, then you can relate to all the other ones that I've written. When summer comes, I take one day out of the week to roam Manhattan. I get off on one side of the island and I walk my way almost all the way through to the other side. I have to thank Urban Pathways for the simple reason that they have given me a stable place to live. Because if I would have gotten my apartment straight out of the shelter, I don't think I would be here today. But now I'm ready for the next step, which is independent living. Of course, I'm still going to need support, but this place gave me the foundation that I needed. I have a purpose to fulfill. So that I don't know what that purpose is. I'm trying to find out what it is. Maybe it's helping somebody else. Maybe it's just saying one kind word to somebody. Maybe that's my purpose, just those two kind words. I'm learning things about myself that I've never knew before. I didn't realize that I was this strong.
He told me that Artie has now been sober for 2 years. Our thanks to him for opening his heart, and our thanks to Bo and Zen at Impact News for really great to help us connect. You think about support and addict needs, the meetings, the check-ins, and in a lockdown like this, how those challenges are even amplified. So that's now more than ever why counselors and support teams here at Pathways are there with supplemental food and computer labs to help them bridge the gap that we're now living through technologically, personal protective equipment, as Frederick was talking about, all of that. You are helping those things become weapons in this fight against chronic homelessness. And Urban Pathways is proof that there is a battle plan that can win. And one guy who agrees with me, who thanks to Zoom, I now realize is my Brooklyn neighbor, is Harry Santolala. He was here last year as our auctioneer. A Brit from the UK, moved here in 2014, has been doing amazing work with nonprofits, and now has the Herculean task of leading an auction online. I want to see how this is going to go.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you give 3 producers a heart attack. I'm with you, New York. Right, I'm actually going to go one step further. I'm taking these stupid things out of my ears. I'm going rogue. I'm flying solo. As many of you know, it's Harry Santolala here. I've been a big fan and supporter of Urban Pathways for a long time. How's morale out there? How are you? Where are you coming from? New York, New Jersey, Toronto, Maine, London, Paris. There's hundreds of you, thousands of you, hundreds of thousands of you out there. And now is the moment that we are going to make a huge, huge difference. Now, typically, those of you who have seen me work know that I'm usually the guy that's bouncing around like an absolute lunatic. But sadly, I've got like an X on my kitchen floor here. I'm not allowed to move from this spot. So we'll see how this works. Like Bill, this is my first time. And I'll be honest, I'm nervous too. But we're all in it together. So let's make this donation count. If you are as bad as me at following directions, then you probably still haven't used your cell phone to go to urbanpathwaysgala.com. Don't panic. Remain calm. We can still do this together. Just to reiterate, what you're on now, that right there is what you're watching this link on. Forget that. Don't try and navigate out of there. Get your cell phone up. get your cell phone and go to urbanpathwaysgala.com. It's where you've been bidding on silent auction items, which is now closed. Forget that. You may or may not have won. It doesn't matter. We are now at donations. Don't just look at me. Stop just looking at me and nodding. Yes, Harry, we're going to, like, that is not good enough. You need to actually get the cell phone and get to urbanpathwaysgala.com. Okay, I'm saying it over and over because it's really, really important. Now, a lot of you are in lockdown. I'm sure, like me, you're going a little stir crazy. Oh, Harry, we don't like being cooped up at home. Oh, cry me a river, people. There are 61,000 men, women, and children sleeping in the New York City shelters tonight. Over half of those homeless people are being discharged from a psychiatric facility, and that population is aging. Homeless adults aged 65 plus has doubled over the last decade. Let that sink in. The most vulnerable people on the planet over the last decade, 65 plus, has doubled. That's what we're dealing with. Urban Pathways' response has, of course, been to provide an alternative to life on the streets, and they need you now more than ever. So you know the drill, you know how this works. We're going to talk through different increments. You should be donating already. Get fired up, start making donations. We're starting, actually, before I do, I'm just going to lay out some foundations. $38,000, these are some interesting stats. $38,000 can house a single adult in a New York City shelter for 1 year. However, $23,000 will provide that same person with housing and services for a whole year at the Urban Pathways supportive housing residence. Okay, so think about that. I have my trusted friend and partner and colleague, Dan Law, giving me an update on donations. We already have 65 donations in the bank, and it is a total of over $40,000. But we're starting at $10,000, which provides 6 months of housing and support for a formerly homeless person. Now, that is a safe place to call home and be part of a community. Can you imagine 6 months of housing for someone who's never had it before? I believe, we've just had one donation at $10,000 from Eric Ibsen. Eric is, of course, a long-term supporter of Urban Pathways. He joined 20 years ago, and he's a member of the board. He is a man, myth, and legend, and he is doing his bit right now at $10,000. We are going down to the $5,000 level now. At $5,000, that's more or less like $1 for every day that we have been in isolation, ladies and gentlemen. $5,000 provides equipment to staff that can better serve clients. Help pay for technology. That's laptops, that's phones, that's tablets. Bridge that gap. Bridge the gap so that Urban Pathways can connect with their clients and vice versa. It is vital. The tech divide is so imperative that we bridge that gap. Please, please keep giving, even if we are way above the level you want to donate at. Just get them flooding in now. We only have 4 minutes left. We're at $2,500, which provides clinical training for social workers to support clients who have experienced trauma and provide support for mentoring and coaching. That's at $2,500. Again, I'm going to loop back to Dan, who needs to give me an update on how much we've raised so far. We are well over $40,000, 66 donations, and Cindy has just given a $2,500 donation, which is incredible. That, as I said, it provides clinical training for social workers. Cindy, the MVP Levine, is a new board member who joined just last year, actually. She's a member of the Wall Street Dead Ahead networking group, and they chose Urban Pathways as their affiliate charity for this year. How are we doing? Ladies and gentlemen, the donations are slightly slowing down, which concerns me a little bit. Again, pick up your cell phone. Don't just watch me. Pick up your cell phone, urbanpathwaysgala.com. Go to the donation. Keep them flooding in. You might get a shout out. We're at $1,000 now. $1,000 provides holiday meals and activities for clients on special occasions. So that's big or small occasions. Imagine, Thanksgiving or birthday celebrations. Imagine that without any food and beverages and the warmth of all of your friends around. It could be a 4th of July party, which is apparently quite popular here in America, celebrating the day that you hoofed us British out. Anyway, we are going to provide support for all of those occasions at just $1,000. And I see that we've actually just had another donation in at $1,000 from Adam Heft, who is a board member. Adam, thanks for joining us. You are a legend. We have 4 at $1,000, which is great. I'm being told that Adam he's been a board member since 2006. Having provided pro bono legal advice, which is pretty awesome. So since 2006, and apparently he's watching with his 2 sons. So shout out to you two. Now would be a good time just to make a donation. Use your dad's credit card. It's absolutely fine. It was like, blame me, do whatever you need to do. Make a donation. You know how to do it. All the kids know how to do it. urbanpathwaysgala.com. Thanks again to Adam. We're at 116 donations. So we just got 50 new donations in. We're at $72,000, which is pretty cool. Right, we're now at $500, which supports advocacy for the homeless. Nonprofits need a voice in the legislative process. Oh, that was tough to get my tongue around. Enable the likes of Artie and others to travel up to Albany to meet with the elected officials. Albany obviously is in the news a lot at the moment. Help Artie and the team get up there and give Urban Pathways a voice. $500. $500, that's a cappuccino in New York City, ladies and gentlemen. Think how many cappuccinos you haven't drank in the last 2 months. Add them up and you're more or less funding the next 45 years for Urban Pathways, all right? So just dig in deep. We're now at the $250 level. This is so strange. I'm going to be honest. I don't know. I think there's hundreds of you out there, and here I am on my own, barking away like a lunatic. But I can see the donations are coming, so I'm not gonna stop. New York needs our donations right now, ladies and gentlemen. We're at the $250 level. That's going to provide move-in kits. Okay, so that's move-in kits for new residences, bedding, bath, kitchen items, things you and I take for granted. We are the fortunate ones. 61,000 people out there in that city do not have these basic essentials. $250. Again, I'm not asking for one person to donate in the household. I want everyone sat around this screen to donate. Once you've all donated, take a selfie and then add it to hashtag #UponlineGala2020. And we're at the $100 level. $100. I mean, you'd spend that on an hour's parking in New York City. $100 will provide a monthly rail card, a Metrocard for clients so they can see healthcare and mental health providers, and they can get job interviews and they can travel around the city freely. It is so vital we get these cards into their hands. The good news is you don't have to waste another dollar online shopping. You can stop all that. Just donate it to Urban Pathways. People really, really need you. We're at 160 donations, which is good. It means this is still working. I'm going to keep digging in. If you are a family or friend of mine or a client or someone who is watching this because I've sent you a link, this is not the time to be taking a screenshot and send it to me afterwards. I don't care what I'm looking like online. I want you to make a donation right now. Friends and family. Laura, Daphne up in Maine, JK, my mum, I imagine, is still tuned in. I mean, it's midnight in London. Let's be honest. She's asleep on the sofa. I'm sure I'll get a copy. Love you, mum. We're at $50 now. $50 and 173 donations. $50 provides a COVID care kit for clients and residents. That's PPE, cleaning products, and non-perishable goods. Again, the basic essentials. $50 changes lives, ladies and gentlemen. UrbanPathwaysGala.com. It's that simple. It really is that simple. So we are now at a part in the show where we take a little break. Don't stop donating. If you're halfway through, keep it going. But this is time for a gift from the Associate Board, okay? They are a committed group of professionals who believe in the mission of Urban Pathways, as I do. They want to salute the Urban Pathways essential workers who are helping to steer clients through these incredibly dark times. Created a video as a team capturing New Yorkers clapping for our heroes at 7 p.m. one evening. So please donate whilst you watch. Thought I'd mix up the gear. Here we are. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. What an incredible video. Thank you again to the associate board. That was a salute to all of the emergency workers, as well as the Urban Pathways 360 employees who are joining that force right on the front line. Again, please continue to donate, ladies and gentlemen. It is vital we get this right. I do want to give a quick shout out to some of the more corporate sponsors, including Paul Weiss, who is one of the most generous sponsors this year. They've provided substantial support for many, many years now, thanks to Harris Friedus. Harris, I hope I didn't butcher your name there. I think I got it right. Thank you so much. Again, to Bank of America as well, who is a long-time supporter of Urban Pathways. Shout out to Keith Berger, who has a relationship with Urban Pathways and has done for over a decade now, as has Tricia Lawson, a Bank of America leader and a long-term board member. Thank you to Estee Lauder. Estee Lauder's support of Urban Pathways began just last year when Andrea Dorigo's wife, Artie, took a tour of some of the Urban Pathway programs on site. And of course, to the Rockefeller Group. Thank you so much, especially to Jerry Bloom, a longtime supporter and friend and former board member. It's been incredible to watch these. Again, this is the first time I've had an online appeal. We're at 194 donations, ladies and gentlemen. 194, okay? I need 6 more donations, and we're at $94,000 in the pledges. 199 donations, in fact. I'm going to bring Bill Weir back on. Where's Bill? Bill, where are you at, sir? Can we get Bill? There he is.
I'm so in awe of you, my brother. You are a force of nature. There was like lightning bolts coming off your building next door. Well done.
Hey, by the way, look, I'll be honest. I'm going to bring up the elephant in the room. Why didn't you get the dress code? There's 500 people out there in black tie right now. We're all in black tie. I know everyone watching online's on black tie. What happened? Why no black tie?
Well, I've been in a bathrobe for 3 months, so it's baby steps back into civilization. You know what I mean? I can't go full tux.
And had a baby. Fair enough. Right, we are now at over 200 donations. So I feel like I've done my bit. Bill, you are a legend. I feel like I can literally see you. We are right next to you, so close, and yet so far by the Brooklyn Bridge. It's a pleasure to see you. Thank you to everyone who got involved. I really appreciate it. So does Urban Pathways. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and thanks again.
Great to have you, Harry. Harry Santolala, what a force of nature, all for the benefit of Urban Pathways. And to all of you, all those names popping up like a firework display of love and compassion and humanity. It was beautiful. There's lots of other ways other than just writing a check or making a donation, which is, we obviously appreciate that, but to contribute based on the skill set that you have. Let me give you an example. Gary Lichtenstein is a printmaker at an essential business during New York on pause, and he was looking for ways to help nonprofits as well as keep his business open. So he thought, we need to put up wash your hands, keep your distance, wear a mask posters. So he teamed up with artist Eric Orr to create these colorful posters with those CDC messages, and Eric's Max, the robot character, and now they're in every Urban Pathways residence. Just one example of neighbors helping neighbors. And that's how we're going to get through this. All the stories we'll tell our kids, right? And you can take such great pride in contributing tonight to raising close to $100,000. But please keep those donations coming if you can, and give what you can. It is a society is only as strong as its weakest link, and as Harry was saying, there's some desperate people out there tonight, and your efforts here can make their lives that much better. Thank you so much for carving out some time for us. I'm sorry we went 8 minutes over on our first ever online gala, but hey, we'll hopefully be back together for hugs and handshakes same time next year. On behalf of all of us here at Urban Pathways, thank you. Stay safe. We love you.